All right, SEC charges Hex founder Richard Hart with misappropriating millions of dollars of investors' funds from unregistered crypto asset security offering, raising more than $1 million. We'll have more on this in 10.
Yo, bang, bang. What's up? It's your boy VETS. Hey, we got a great show. Let's welcome in Mr. Randy Hilarski himself. Hey.
Hey.
Hoorah. Yeah, my new saying now is poorah. But however, that is another topic for another stream. Today's stream on the Vets and Crypto show is about private wealth law and working through your off-ramp strategy, like building. I want people to start thinking about how to off-ramp other than taking your crypto to Coinbase and then sending that to your personal bank account. Like, no, don't do that. Don't be silly. So without further ado, we're going to welcome up the man himself, a Navy veteran, Mr. Glenn Truitt. How you doing, sir?
I'm excellent. Thank you for having me. It's good to see you both. It's exciting to be here. I've got to say, it's my first live stream. Usually we're more one-on-one with the Zoom, or we put materials out there that are pre-recorded. But I'm really excited in this format. We've always said that you measure a lawyer by Q&A. So here I am throwing myself into the veteran and first responder metaverse, hoping for the best in live Q&A. But really appreciate the opportunity, because in my world, knowledge is power. What you don't know can hurt you, for real. This is the place where I can give you I want to introduce a little of these things. And then it's such a smart crowd. I'm looking forward to the Q&A. But thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, Jake. Thanks.
Yeah. If you would give us a little background about your military experience.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I am also a veteran. Got my cool Navy ring. So I grew up in Colorado. I joined the Navy at 18 because the Air Force sucks. I joined the Navy at 18 just to get out of Colorado. I was enlisted, went to boot camp in Orlando back when that was a thing. Randy, remember? Yeah, I know, right? Integrated boot camp, I-015. Let's go. And while I was there, a yeoman pulled me out of boot camp and said I had the grades to go to the academy, and they asked me if I wanted to go. And of course, the answer to everything in boot camp is, sir, yes, sir. So I hadn't seen the academy, but it looked like a nice place. And the chief thought it was a good idea. So I applied and did all that. Ended up at the academy in 1993. Graduated in 1997. Went back to submarines and got my degree in mathematics. Had a really good time at school. Back to submarines, back to power school in Orlando. Went through the whole pipeline, Charleston for prototype, Groton for sub school, and then back on the USS Tennessee in Kings Bay, Georgia. And since Kings Bay sucks, I lived in Jacksonville. Did 3 years on the boat. Really wanted to be a JAG. So told the Navy, hey, and they said, go ahead and apply to law school and then apply to our program. All the law schools said yes. The Navy said no. And so what you do when that happens is you just go ahead and go. That's a sign from God. So I went ahead and said, look, if Stanford says I'm ready for law school and the Navy says I'm not, just do the math. So matriculated out at Stanford for law in 2002. Finished 2005. Worked in California for about 5 years. Been in Las Vegas for the rest of it. Been licensed for this is my 20th year of practice. And have been licensed in Nevada for 11, California for 19, And what we do is incredibly cool and nerdy law. It works for military guys. So we choose the hard thing. I chose the hard thing. I keep choosing the hard thing. And one of these times I should choose the easy thing, but I know how we are. We choose the hard thing. So I took the hardest law I could find, and here we are. So I'm with you guys.
Yeah. Amen. No, great introduction. And as far as your firm goes, how big, small, what's your size, capacity?
Yeah. Thanks so much for giving me a plug my firm. Private wealth law. We have 4 lawyers, a total of 7 staff. We're a boutique practice. We have a couple dozen clients at a time. We really are looking for long-term relationships. We're not trying to just retail and transactional and get out of there. The work we do is custom. So we're looking to sort of get to know you before we get to work for you. We work in all 50 states. We're headquartered in here in Las Vegas. Nothing wrong with that. Got a guy got guys in California, got guys in Idaho, got a guy in Texas, and we work in all 50 states. I'll do trusts wherever I find them. And if I need someone, so let's say I need something in South Carolina, I'll draft your trust. I find a South Carolina attorney to bless it, extra couple of bucks, and you're done. That way you still get me to work, and you get the local confirmation that you're good to go. And so it's we work in all 50. We don't the offshore stuff can be a little crunchy depending on how offshore you are, right? So if you're dealing with if you're a politically exposed person or you're dealing with some of that, sure, we can help with that. That's very specialized stuff. But in general, it's right down the middle stuff is all 50 states, no problem.
Beautiful. Yeah, I was thinking that private wealth law, that we have this term that we say that we're new rich, we're crypto rich. It's all on paper and those kind of things. But what happens is that these guys, they get their money and they don't know how to manage it. They're really clueless because it happens so quickly. I knew many Hexicans that went from living in a basement. I know one in particular is living in a basement in Germany with a 6-foot height, living on a bed. He went from being eating rice and beans every day to being a multimillionaire in less than 18 months. And someone like that, they're gonna have no clue. I mean, I'm one of those people. Became a millionaire about 6 years ago. But I know how it felt when you just don't know how to manage money yet, and we really need the help. Absolutely.
I think to your point, the worst part is you get a lot of attention real fast, right? What do I do? A lot of it's just ask your questions. Look, all the military and first responder folks I know are excellent BS detectors, excellent. So get out there and ask your questions. You validate a lawyer by asking them questions. If and the way they answer is the way they practice law. If they need a bunch of time and they're slow, that's how they practice. If they know it right off and they're ready to go, that's how they practice. So pay attention when you ask lawyers questions, right? They pay attention when they ask you questions. You give it back to them, find out who you want to work with, and do that for everybody. It turns out that BS detectors work in all areas, and that's what the military gave you. Not a lot else to go on the road with, but they did give you that. So you got to use that tool. And I want you to apply it to me today. I'm here to answer questions. I'm here to give you a little bit, but I'm mostly here to answer questions because that's how you know what's up.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what drew me to you and made me feel comfortable about our relationship and moving forward. And, this path with your firm is not for everybody. You got to feel it out and see if it's a right fit for you. My position is I'm not a legal person, but I know enough that words matter in the legal world, especially with trusts and irrevocable, this and that, and a charitable remainder trust. And I knew I wasn't that guy. I could probably find some boilerplate stuff, but what we're doing is not boilerplate stuff. And it's a curated to that individual approach for as far as the way it's set up. And so I knew and wanted to seek a source, and I outsourced this aspect of it. And you guys were on top of it, walking people, because it's a shit ton of paperwork. Bottom line, it's a lot. There's a lot of initialing and signing.
Yeah, there's that. Oh,
5 copies, but you guys made it real seamless.
Yeah.
You'd overnight something whatever, like
yeah.
it was very painless and seamless. And it's honestly, for me, it's a peace of mind. So we'll cover questions openly and candidly. It's not about funneling business to private wealth law. He's a veteran. He gets it. We want to help people whatever direction they want to go. So even if there's something that's out there to point people to a website to start doing your own research, DYOR, we'll get you that info and go from there. So it's teach their own, make it of it what you will.
And then Jake, I want to mention that during one of my slides that I've never put in a deck before this one, is I'm going to talk to you about what you can do yourself and what you should leave to us and why. Because in a group like this, group of independent thinkers, you're not going to don't take my word. Like, run these down. I'll show you the Venn diagram. I'll tell you what's in each, right? So if you feel like someone that wants to do it yourself, please go do it yourself. I'll tell you where it's okay. I'll tell you where you should be careful. Okay.
Yeah.
And no lawyers do that. But with this group, like since we all serve, okay, I'll tell you what it is, right? And that, and so at least you can, and if it's something on the line, I'll tell you, like, hey man, that's close. Like, if you feel like you got it, like, okay, if not, maybe bring it by the office and we'll take a peek at it. But at the end of the day, 20 years of this stuff, like, I just make fewer mistakes. It's accessible to all of you, right? It's written in English, like I got it. So what do I do? Like, I just do a ton of it, right? Do you really want to get into the stuff part-time? Great. We always got an open seat at the office. Go get your JD. Let's do it. But in the meantime, if you want to let us do it, like, I'll tell you when and I'll tell you why. And even that should make sense to you. So what you should leave today with a minimum understanding of like what these things are that I do and whether or not you can do that on your own or you ought to get somebody's help. And if it's not me, I'll help you vet whoever it is. You just write me up, tell me who it is, and I'll tell you if they're the right guy for you, right guy, right girl for you. Because at the end of the worst part about being a lawyer is I know a lot of lawyers. Just leave that to me. You don't have to go out there and meet a bunch of lawyers. Trust me, you don't want to. Let me help you. Okay?
Yep. That sounds good. So let's kick this off here. First question. I'm told Nevada has good privacy. Is there a difference in Nevada compared to other states as far as private LLCs go?
Yes. So it's an excellent question. Nevada has been in a long-term battle with Wyoming to become the most attractive LLCs in the game, and Delaware has also swung back in because they were, probably know this, they're the corporation sort of leader, if you will. So they've made a swing to come back in. So what can you do with LLCs to make them more attractive? Privacy is a big part of it, but there's another part that we'll talk about, right? So yes, Nevada has pretty private LLCs, but in Nevada, you will disclose managers, which you don't have to do in Wyoming, and which is hard to find in Delaware, okay? So if not listing managers is your jam, you might think more Wyoming, Delaware than Nevada. But Nevada is not done because we got one for you. So the reason that Delaware is Delaware, aside from the fact that people are lazy and don't like change, right? It's not the Chancery Court. That's the answer that your friends that don't like you give you, because every state, even the Dakotas, has business court, which is what Chancery Court is. What's that? That's judges that handle business disputes exclusively. So they're not handling somebody, my dog bit somebody, all that stuff, right? So they focus on business. And Delaware was the first state to realize we need a business court. But now all the states got business courts. So why is Delaware? Okay, here's why. You can waive in the bylaws the fiduciary duties from directors to shareholders in a corporation in Delaware. So the analog to that in an LLC is managers and members, right? So in every state except one, you're stuck with these duties. But in Nevada, not only can you waive it, since 2018, if you organize an LLC in Nevada, that duty is deemed waived unless you reinstall it in the operating agreement. So yes, Nevada has the best LLCs, but not because of privacy, but because you can openly screw over the members as the manager without any direct liability for that. That's why.
Right on. Let's see. Next one. I am interested in HOAs, just like the wealthy do it. My questions are not specific. Interested in your thoughts on HOAs, PMAs.
What? HOA, homeowners association, HOA are empowered by the law to have sort of inequitable amounts of authority in their little ambit. So these CCNRs and the other, I just got done dealing with an HOA. Actually, I'm currently dealing with an HOA for a client, right? They're just trying to move into town, and it's a fight over removed trees and cap water lines. And all of a sudden, I'm a landscaping expert, which is fine. But like the bad news is HOAs are as powerful as they seem, and the law gives them that priority. So the best thing you can do is first look up the CCNRs in the HOA you're talking about. Ask the neighbors how the HOA is, or there's a forum online. And then last but not least, like have a lawyer run down for you what's the HOA law in your state. I'm happy to do it. Tell me what the state is. Takes just a few seconds. Online research. Here you go. But in Nevada, they're incredibly powerful. In the Western states, they tend to, because of sort of a new development, legally speaking, they tend to be incredibly overpowered, and that can be problematic. So you really want to just do your homework. It's a lot like checking out the schools when you move into a neighborhood and you got kids. If you don't check out the schools and they suck, that's your bad. Same thing with the HOA. Do your homework. Because there's not.
I just love, go on TikTok and look at the HOA stuff. Those
there you go.
Funny as hell. Some of the shit that people do.
There's not much you can do against the HOA. It's troublesome. You really don't have sort of a paucity of options when it comes to dealing with them, and they have incredible amounts of leverage over you. So the reality is, it's the Roadhouse school of thought. Just be nice, be really nice, okay? And when it's time to not be nice, I'll tell you, but probably later than you think. So yeah, be nice. I know they're all small people with small amounts of authority acting like big people. I get it, but if you all served, it's not the first time you've encountered someone like that and you made it this far. So yeah. Don't die on that hill. We'll talk about the hill to die on. That's not the one.
I almost didn't make it. I was in trouble all the time.
I'm telling you.
Hilarski, why can't you just listen? Because you're wrong, sir. Didn't work.
There's two ways to say the word "sir." There you go.
Yeah. Amen.
You don't know that you're getting the other one.
Right, for sure. Let's see. So we'll pull up your chart, your deck here.
Run this deck. Let's go through it. All right. We'll take questions afterwards. Off we go.
Let's see if I get this right here. All right.
It says, yeah, you got it?
Yeah. Can everybody hear us while we're pulling this? I think they should. I think we're good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. So protecting our heroes' wealth, we just want to talk about strategies and insights on how veterans and first responders and anybody else that's here can protect and manage newfound wealth. Okay, hit the next one. Let's roll. Okay. So first, I want to talk about the importance of estate planning, why to do it, why it makes sense, why spend money on it. Then trust planning strategies, sort of like the different types of trusts, how we use them, how you should use them. And then last but not least, governance structures. And what's governance is a fancy word for how to deal inside of an entity, right? Corporations and LLCs. We're just going to cover those two today. I know there are many exotic types of entities. I've formed most of them. I'm happy to answer questions about them. We'll cover two and sort of what's important about them. And again, governance is an area where what you don't know can absolutely hurt you. So hopefully we'll leave you with a couple of critical lessons to take away today, and I'll answer questions as they come. Next slide. Okay, so these are the challenges faced by this sort of first responder and vet crowd, right? Oftentimes, if you're getting wealth, it's coming later in your life, and it's coming all at once, right? You may have a lack of financial literacy because the military famously doesn't train you for much, but being in the military. You left, you don't know how to cook, you don't know how to clean up your own room, and guess what? You don't know how to handle your money, and you probably have crappy life insurance. Congrats. Thanks so much. As a result, you're vulnerable. People that prey on vets, I'm sure all of us have wandered outside the base and seen the easy credit on crappy cars for E1 and E1, E2 types. I remember them from Orlando. They were as disgusting then as they are now, and they're everywhere. Okay, the predators have gotten good. They've leveled up, y'all. So just be careful. And they believe me, and they hire vets to do it. Come after our own, all that badness. Just be careful. It's complicated, and it's more complicated than the stuff you did in the military, and it's more complicated than they made it sound. But the good news is, I'm one of you, and I know, and I speak our language, and I can explain to you what it is in terms that you can understand, or we'll keep going till you get it. Okay. And the final thing is, look, it's challenging emotionally, right? I think that at some level we all share a little bit of the same sort of constitution as people that do this work, and I think we don't ask for help first or ever. We're embarrassed not to know things. We feel like we're responsible for knowing everything for everybody around us. And we're at some level we're all a little bit martyrs. We're willing to take and on ourselves to make everyone else's load lighter, and that's fine. But this is a time to be a little bit selfish, right? These decisions that we're making they're selfish, but you realize it's not a zero-sum game. So your success doesn't mean someone else's failure, but it's okay to ask for help. It's okay not to know. It's okay to not be okay. And I'm 50 years old this year. I've seen a lot of life. I'm not the snappy young guy I was looking good in my uniform, but I've learned to calm down and understand and help people that are going through it. Like, hey man, look, you have plenty of room here. And I think that a lot of times vets and first responders and people like us stay away from professionals because we feel like we're going to do a bad job in the room, as though somehow you're being evaluated too. It's not really how it goes, but I get it. And so the hardest part of getting here is usually getting here. And so if you come to me, I treat you with respect and understanding, especially as we get rolling, answer your questions, make sure you're comfortable first, then we'll get into it. It's not a hard sell. I got a desk full of work to do. So yes or no, we're good either way. I'm happy to be here in front of you. And if I can teach all of you at least one thing, it's going to be a good time for me.
Okay. Right on.
Next slide. Okay. So let's start with trusts. Okay. These are in order left to right as you need to know them. Okay. First and foremost, and by far the most important, is your estate trust. And your estate trust is going to be your revocable family trust. This is the basis of your estate. Revocable means that you can take all the stuff you put in back out. Okay. When it becomes irrevocable, when the grantor or grantors die, because at that point they can't take it back. So it's irrevocable. The primary purpose of this trust is to manage your estate. Okay. And the reason you do a trust is that you don't want to go through probate. Okay.
Right.
What's probate? Right. I'm assuming everyone's heard of probate, right? What's probate? Okay. Probate is a fancy lawyer word for death court, right? Death court has a branding issue. So I get why they changed it, right? But so everybody got to go to death court. What do you got to go to death court for? To validate and administer your testamentary documents. What's that mean? It's just a lawyer. Lawyers like making up words that sound important. It's what we do, right? So testament. Kinetics is here. Hey, Ken, what's up? What's your testamentary document? It's your will. Last will and testament. That's the one, right? So the court, the probate court, validates your will, make sure it's signed and witnessed and all the things it needs to be. Thank you, Ken. You're the best. And then administers it. Okay, and says, okay, well, here's who the PR is. Used to be administrator, now it's personal representative. Here's who that is, and off you go. They charge you a fee based on the size of your estate. Normally, when we charge someone based on how much money they have, we call that a tax. In probate, we call it probate fees, but you don't want to pay that. The other problem with probate is it's capital P public. If you don't believe me, Google the county you're sitting in and the word probate and find a list of estates and just see how much detail the public gets. Probate court is an Article 3 court, which means that we all pay for it, so we all get to see the documents they have. And what's that mean? It means the disposition of your estate is public record if you do it through probate. So how do we avoid probate, Glenn? First of all, you don't avoid probate all the way. You just avoid most of it. So you're going to have a trust to administer your estate. You're going to put all these instructions that you were going to put in the will into your estate trust. Okay? You're going to say, but Glenn, how does all the stuff get in there? What if I forget to put something in? That's a good question, right? Because if you know you were going to die, if you know when you're going to die, you don't need my help. You need to go. You have another skill you need to share with the world, right? But you don't know when you're going to die. So in order to get all your stuff in, we give you a special kind of will called a pour-over will. And all it does is take all the stuff you forgot to put in your trust and it dumps it in there when you die. All it says is that when you die, all the stuff goes in this trust. And the probate court says, this looks good. And it looks like everything that was in your estate is now in your trust estate. So now the trust administers. Okay. That's the point of revocable family trust. It becomes irrevocable, or If you're married, when one of you dies, it exists to support your spouse, and then when he or she goes, then to the kids, right? So revocable family trust is the foundation of an estate plan. Okay, it doesn't do all the fancy tax stuff. It does a few things, and depending on the size of your estate, if your estate is larger than the the lifetime gifting exception, which is currently at 13.7 million individually, so it's 27 and change for a couple. If your estate is larger than that, you definitely want these splits to make sure that you minimize the amount of estate tax that you pay. You guys know what the estate tax percentage is? Anybody?
A lot.
It is a lot. It's a big number. Anybody know what it is? It's a big old flat round number, big old dumb number. Anybody? All right, it's 40. It's 40%.
Holy
yeah. You do. Hold on. You do get the first 13.7 million. Okay, without that.
Oh, okay.
But now look, that law is supposed to sunset before anybody tells me in the chat in the December 31st, 2025. Okay. Now, what you think about politics? The one constituency that has got robust representation on both sides is rich people. Okay. No matter what you think, there are plenty of rich people on both sides, an equal amount of wealth on both sides. And nobody wants this number to go back down to 5. So my prediction is we're going to find a way. No matter how much you think of the person in office, I promise you this is probably going to happen. It really is, because rich people don't like paying taxes, especially estate taxes. So now, if it doesn't, it rolls back to 5. I don't think it's going back to 5. We'll find out, right? But for now, 27.5 million for a married couple. So, but Glenn, what if I don't want to die before the end of 2025? Like I hear that, right? So what can you do? You can transfer the wealth into a trust for your kids' benefit as long as they exist. You know, they're alive and have names. You can't give it to your children, right? You can give it to them early. So we can still beat that deadline, right? Still beat that deadline, right? So that's the idea, right? The other trusts we're talking about are all irrevocable. These are special vehicles to, and what happens is when it's irrevocable trust, that means it's outside your estate immediately. These trusts get their own tax ID. The revocable trust, the tax ID is your social. But for these trusts, they get their own EIN number. That's how you know they're not you, and that's not your stuff anymore. Problem is, you can't go get it. You can't have it. Or if you do take it, it's taxable. Okay, you don't want that. So the most common is life insurance trust. ILIT, Irrevocable Life Insurance Trust, ILIT. And what do we use that for? We use that to hold life insurance outside your estate. Okay? Why? Because then it doesn't get taxed. The benefit doesn't get taxed, right? So we also use it for charitable trusts, irrevocable trusts, and we also use it for asset protection trust. Now, I want to caution everybody on this about asset protection trust. You probably don't need one.
Okay.
You probably don't need it. First of all, your primary home, that gets homesteaded. Every state has a Homestead Act. That means that some amount of equity in your home cannot be touched for collections no matter what. Here, it's $600,000. Look it up in your state. It's always a single form that you can fill out by yourself. Don't need a lawyer. Download it, fill it, send it in. If you haven't done it, you're overdue. You are behind on your homework. Go do that. Okay? Most of your assets are not being chased by creditors currently. If they are, you know who you are. You can come talk to me, right? But asset protection trust, if you do the kind of work that creates liability, then you know that, right? And you need to put your stuff away and okay. But most of you don't. Most of you don't. I'm not going to sell you something you don't need because it sounds cool, right? That's what your Corvette dealership is for, okay? The charitable trusts are incredibly powerful. I'm just going to go through one called CRUT, Charitable Remainder Trust, because the Hexicans that I've worked with all have this. So what's it do, right? It's magic. It's magic. Yeah, Jake knows it's magic. It's magic. What's it do? Here's the deal. You give money or assets, highly appreciated assets like cryptocurrency, highly appreciated assets, go to the CRUT. Now, once it goes to the CRUT, remember, it cannot come back out. But it doesn't go to the charity until when? Jake?
5 or 10 years or when you...
There it is. When you what? Charity gets it when?
Well, when you die.
There you go. Charity gets it when you die. Not a moment before, okay? What does it do before that? It accumulates. You give it to your wealth manager. Why do they want it? Because they make fees off of that. All right. You'll be like, but Glenn, I gave it away. Hold on. Okay. First off, you get to write back. First, you get the step up in basis for free, all the way up. No capital gain, all the way up. Okay. And I know some of you have appreciated the number is stupid, right? You bought it at 8 cents. It's worth 80,000. Oh my God. It's all capital gain. Okay. You get that for free. You get to use the stepped up value for that year plus 2 more to offset your AGI. Okay. Up to 50%, right? That's the rule. But again, that year plus 2. Okay. So you can space out your giving if you need to. But by far the best part of CRUT is the unit trust part, right? Which says, unit trust says a number between 5 and 50%. And again, the younger you are, the higher the number is. It's based on when the government thinks you're going to die. Sorry. But they know. Okay. And they say, then you can, whatever that number is, let's just say it's 5%. Let's just say you're 50 and now, and you've lived a normal life and you got some risk. My number is like 5%. I can take out 5% every year of what's in the trust back to the grantor. And I know I said it was irrevocable. You don't get the stuff you put in back. You get the value back as a payment. Now that is taxed at normal income rate, but remember, you got the entire step up in basis for free. Income tax is not a big deal when you get that, and you get it back every year. You can choose not to take it, and you can make it up. You can not take it for 3 years, take it all in year 4. You can do all that. Okay.
Cool. Very cool.
It's magic. You can change the beneficiary, or you can designate like your alma mater. I had a client designated his alma mater. He gave $4 million. They gave him, he's 65 years old. They gave him credit for $20 million because they think in the time between now and when he dies, which is 16 years ish, right? 81 for men in the US, right? That it will grow to that number. So they give him credit for $20 million. Do you know how nice your alma mater is to you when you give them $20 million?
You get a building named after you, right?
A building. I tell you what, you sit courtside, and I mean, like, you're basically in the game, right? So all of these things. Now, of course, you have to commit to them. You can't take it back out. But like all of that. And again, if you live for 20 years, you get the money back. You get the money back. Wow. So CRUT, right? And that's just one. They all do magical things. That's the easiest one to understand. So run it down for you. That's CRUT. So but I will not do a CRUT for you if you don't have an estate trust. I won't do it. Again, you need an estate plan more than you need that set tax savings. Yes, you do. Okay. Your family needs it anyways, right? So trusts are a little bit magic because they allow you to move things outside your estate, but still have sort of control of them. But this is the order. We're always going to start on the left. We're always going to start on the left here if we start together. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Next slide. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Governance. What the heck is governance? I know I use that word. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, what is that? Governance is a fancy lawyer word for what goes on inside of entities. So another way to think of me is an entity man, right? Corporations, LLCs, that stuff that I do. Form them, blow them up, put them together, merge them, take them apart, set them up, all the things, right? So you need to know the documents, okay? Because I will form your entity for the cost to the state. I don't charge a single hourly charge. So whatever the state charges here, it's $437. That's what you pay here for Nevada LLC. So what am I charging you for? Well, I won't do your formation unless I'm doing your documents because that's malpractice, right? It's like giving someone a device with no instruction manual. No thanks, right? So there are 3 documents, 2 types of entities, just corporation and LLC. LLC, you got to have an operating agreement. You have to. The reason you do is that the default rules, which you're stuck with if you don't have an operating agreement, super suck. The most important one to know about is if you have a multi-member LLC, you need every other member's permission to get out.
Right.
And if you don't have it, you're stuck in that. That's crazy, right? And it goes downhill from there. The default rules assume equal partnership, but there's no such thing as an equal partnership. If you have been in business, you know that, right? You got to have an operating agreement. Sets all the rules. It's a prenup for your business marriage. That's how to think of it, right? We're going to set all the rules and scenarios down ahead of time. We're going to agree ahead of time what it is. That's operating agreement, right? In a corporation, you need 2 documents to match that 1 document. Corporations are more formal, more strict because an LLC is the combination of a corporation and a partnership. But that's what happened in the 70s. They had a marriage, they had a baby. It's LLC, and it's worked since then. Probably the best innovation in the last 100 years in corporate governance, right? But a corporation needs two documents: the bylaws, which govern how the directors are related to the shareholders, right? That relationship. It's oftentimes the default rules there are actually very good. Oftentimes the bylaws are nothing more than a recital of the default rules plus a little flavor for whatever your company needs to do. The action is the shareholders agreement, which is a fully custom document which outlines the relationship between the shareholders and one another. Okay, both those things are handled together in an operating agreement for LLC, and a corporation are separate documents. And a lot of times you only get the bylaws. You only have half the story. You do not have anything about how the shareholders relate to one another. Okay, if you start an entity, you got to have these documents. You got to have these documents. Okay, there's no substitute. You got to have these documents. All right. Do not form an entity unless you have these documents. Okay, we'll talk about which ones you can do, but you got to have these. These are the rule books. Okay.
Gotcha.
Without this, you are out there on a limb. Don't do that. You're giving it all away. Don't do that. Whatever questions you have, I can answer. All right, next slide. Let's roll. We're rolling. We're getting in. I can see the questions piling up. Okay, why do this? Why do this? Right. First of all, most importantly, you're going to maximize the wealth you transfer to the next generation, which is ideally, if you want to transfer wealth, ideally you want to maximize it. If you're not trying to maximize it, then go ahead and leave all your fees here. I'll make sure I send a nice card to your beneficiaries, right? You do, thank you, King. You do want to get as much money down the pipe as you can. That's the game, right? What else you want to do? You want to avoid being a jerk to your family, okay? You just do. You'll be gone, so it won't matter to you. But I have been through this process enough to know all this does is take away all the problems about the grief. The grief is the grief. You can't do anything about the grief, okay? But you can take away all the other problems. It's an incredible gift to give your family, and I recommend it. You won't be around to know, but it's incredibly rewarding. You'll see it. It'll bring
peace of mind.
Peace of mind, knowing it's gonna be okay. No one's gonna have to do anything. Call me up. We're gonna handle it, right? We're gonna handle it. Okay. One more time. Okay. So the obviously, everybody here wants to minimize tax liability. How much tax should you pay? No more and no less than you're supposed to. That's it. Okay. We do not fight the IRS for you. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy. Do not fight the IRS. Don't do that. They win all the time. They're undefeated. Okay. If they'll put Martha Stewart in jail, they'll put you in jail. You understand? They don't give a damn. If Wesley Smith, he's Blade. Doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. This is my quote. I know, quoting myself, super meta, right? Only with this crowd, right? I actually do say this all the time. It's like, I need a block quote. I'm going to do my own. Here we go. If you ever imagine that the ultra high net worth and powerful crowd has access to a special set of structures and tools that help them maximize their control and privacy while minimizing their tax and legal liabilities, you're 100% right. They do. And congratulations, you made it. Here you are, right? That's what I do. I have families in the Middle East. I have professional athletes. I'm getting my NFLPA certification. My MBA certification is coming. I do this for the rich people that you know about. So I can do it for you. Maybe it's not me for you, but it's not because your estate's too difficult. All right. You're not going to hand me something. I'm going to go, oh, fuck, gee, I have no idea, bro. Okay. So I'm here to answer questions because we're all we all served, right? We all did this. So here I am to tell you the answers, right? And I work for those people. So if I can handle them, I can handle you, right? All right, next one.
That's cool.
We're rolling. Woo! Okay. All right, my favorite, the new slide. Here we go. Okay. Now I get this is a self-sufficient crowd. It's okay. Okay, it's okay. I'm not going to tell you need the full concierge version of this. Now, if you're wealthy and you don't give a shit, go ahead and send me all your money. We'll do it for you. Make it super nice. All right. But I understand some of you are going to want to try this on your own. No problem. I'm here to tell you it's fine. Okay. Here's what you can do on the trust side. If you're unmarried, you got a small estate less than $2 million. You don't or these are ors, not ands. Ors. Or. Okay. Sorry, I should have put that in here. Or unmarried or small estate or no children. Give that a go on your own. It's hard to screw up. Stakes are low. You can do those. That trust you can do on your own. I can also do it, but and if your time is relatively inexpensive to you, like please go ahead. Right. I'll even look it over for you. No charge. I will. Okay. From here, don't tell your friends. Like from one of you all. Okay. Not everybody. Fucking Jesus. Right?
Veterans and first responders. How about that?
There you go.
Yeah, send your bona fides with your document, or forget
Your
it. Okay?
DD 214. Yeah.
It's that DD 214 or your it's a civilian service equivalent, right? The firefighters get something like that, don't they? They must. Okay, here we go. Trust side, no specialized trusts. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do that yourself. That's crazy. That's crazy. There's lawyers that don't know how to do that. Don't do that. Estate trust, no problem. But honestly, if you're doing that, you need a specialized trust, you can afford them whether you want to pay the lawyer or not. Okay, trust. Just stay away from those. On the governance side, single member, single shareholder entities go crazy. Hard to screw those up. Do we do those? Sure, but we charge an amount because we don't want people to do those here. Okay, I would prefer not to. They're easy. All right. If it's part of a larger structure, we just throw them in anyway. So okay. And most bylaws are fine. Most 80% of bylaws are okay. Do not try to do a multi-member LLC operating agreement on your own. You're going to screw it up. And if I'm on the other side, I'm going to eat it. Spit it back at you. Okay. Don't do that. Also, no shareholders agreements. Those are fully custom. If you feel like you can draft fully custom contracts, go to law school and come work for me. Don't do this. Okay. If you have that skill, just coming out of the gate, good for you. Okay. Those are the warning areas. I'm telling you because I know some of you are going to DIY and it's fine. Right. But just please be careful in those areas. I'm not messing around. I've seen it. Okay. I've seen it. And repair costs a lot more than building here. Go ahead.
Well, so yes, thank you. Led right into my question of not how many, but I'm sure over your life, your work career, have you seen some DIYs come to you after the fact? And is it a more difficult situation trying to reverse maybe what they did, or they didn't? Are you just kind of screwed? You didn't have the protection in place, and there's like they come to you, and you're like, I can't do too much for you. The ball's too far down the road.
Well, yeah, that's a great question, Jake, and I appreciate it. So with estate trusts, the too late is sort of when you die. So, it's sort of like, that's sort of an all-encompassing too lateness, like, but in general, I can fix a bad estate trust. I can fix it, right? The people that I need to say yes are the people that are giving, the grantors, and if they're coming around for the look, they usually are coming around for the change. That's not a problem. Irrevocable trusts can be a giant bummer. If you screw one of those up, you might be in it. Now we can find a way out, but it's not going to be cheap, right? It is what it is. Governance. Oh my goodness. Governance is the foundation of your home. Okay. If you mess up the foundation before you put the house on, very easy to fix. However, if you don't, it's hard. And the reason is critical, right? Equity is a legal property interest. When a legal property, which means you cannot deprive someone of life, liberty, or property without the due process of law, that capital P property. So if you don't like the equity setup and you didn't draft those rules ahead of time, guess what? You're buying that person out, not taking them out. Okay. Gotcha. So governance, when there's more than one of you, it's a prenup, and it's not as good as a postnup. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you have to do it ahead of time. You got to do it. Fixing it. Don't try to fix the car while you're driving it. I know it's more in the beginning. I know I got it. But here's the thing: no one goes into a partnership going, "And this might not make it, Glenn. Fuck it." Yeah. Everyone comes in like that, just like they got married. Oh, it's gonna be great. We're gonna make $1 billion. It's gonna be fine. I'm like, hey guys, want to talk about what happens if you don't? No. But I make them. I make you. Listen, let's talk about what happens. It's probably not gonna happen. I don't want to harsh your buzz, but the failure rate for corporations is way higher than marriages, y'all. And prenups everywhere. You've heard about prenup. You all know what it is. This is prenup. It's prenup. That's what it is. Doesn't matter if you're married to the other person in the entity. those end too, right? So listen to me. It's so much more important to get governance right in the beginning than it is later, right? Getting the foundation right allows you to build the house. Okay? Right on. It just does. All right? It just does. So please, I will look at your documents for you. I won't charge you to look at them. Just send them to me.
Wow. That's huge. That's very generous of you. Wow.
Hey, this is good. Or hey, bro, this is bad. Like, let's talk about it. Let's get on the phone. Hey, if it's worth sending to me, I will carry it up to send it back to you with my notes. Okay? Just is what it is. All right. Yep. I understand it's hard. I understand going to the lawyers like going to the dentist. You're supposed to go, what's good for you. And I get that you don't want to be here. I get it. Try to make it as fun as I can. It's serious law, not too seriously, right? But serious, right? I get it. I get you don't want to be. I get it. You want to be somewhere else. You want to go to Dave & Buster's. Me too, right? But listen, come here. Let's talk about it. The most rewarding thing I can give you is a direct and professional discussion about what's important to you. That's what you come here for anyway, right? So let me help you answer the question for real. I get sometimes you don't want to go to the doctor because you know you got something. But listen, it don't get you better. I know all of you know this because I did it, right? You know, like I mean, when I was in the Navy, boy, you had to like drag me to sick call. Because if I can move myself, I'm moving myself away from sick call.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I need you all to put that shit in your back pocket and just come to me with it, okay? I promise you, it's not as painful as you think. The hardest part is getting here.
Yeah.
And then we'll work it out together. And if I can't help you, I'll find you someone that can. Okay. But please don't wander through the forest without a map because you're too proud to ask for one.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you got to get out of your own way. Like, don't let yourself trip you up. So we got a question here from Luna C Point. Thank you. Everybody, please drop in questions. Like, this is gold right here. If you got a question on this topic, now's the time to drop it in. So, what are your thoughts on your primary residence being in a Florida land trust?
It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary and it's outdated. You need the homestead and that's it. Then you need to make sure that your primary residence first homestead it for asset protection. Then for estate planning, it just goes with your pour of a will. If there is a reason to move it, like again, it's got a giant step up in basis since you bought it, and we need to move it to your kids ahead of time. You can do that with something less complicated than a land trust, and you can dovetail it with the rest of your estate plan. It doesn't need to be in its own thing. Land trusts are mostly outdated, and that sort of thing.
Is there a difference between residence or domicile? I don't know if this is part of her.
I believe so. Those terms are exchanged usually. Your primary residence is usually your domicile, right? So that's those rules about like 180 days plus one, all that business. That sort of stuff. Those terms are interchangeable. But what I'm talking about is homestead is only for your primary residence. That's a good question. Homestead is only for your primary residence or your domicile, right? Your 50% plus one, that place where you live. You cannot get homestead on all your houses. Don't do that, right? They'll figure that out, right? This one. Can
we circle back on and explain again how important in the homestead it is? You were mentioning earlier it's a single document. Everybody should do it. It's easy.
You just Google right now. All of you are sitting in front of a computer because I am too, right? Go to your Google box and type in homestead and your state, and it's going to come up a form you fill out. I think it's a Secretary of State here in Nevada, right? But and you fill it out, and the number is right there too. Whatever the number is for your state, it's an amount of equity that's protected, not the value of the home, the equity, the part that you own, right? That's what you care about. You don't care about the value of the house. You got a $500,000 mortgage, and it's $2 million house. The $1.5 million is what matters, not the two, right? So that's what protected. But there's a maximum amount. And above that, what do? Good question. Get umbrella insurance. If you are worried about liabilities that are over the homestead value, you better have a big boy insurance plan. If you don't, like I introduced you to P&C guys, let's talk about it, right? But I promise you, insurance is an incredibly important part of what you're doing in business, especially for the crypto community that's really independently businessing, like insurance. And if you have enough money, we can talk about captive insurance. You can start your own insurance company. Why give all that money? If you're risk averse, great. We'll talk about that. That does require a minimum amount of liquidity, but we'll get there. Insurance is a good idea. If you care enough to come to a lawyer, believe me, you're the kind of person that gets insurance. Get an umbrella policy.
Yeah.
You know what an umbrella policy is? We'll talk about that in a different session, but that's a super good idea. I have one, a big one.
Yeah, I got one too.
Yeah. I mean, Jake's, come on, look, if the Marines can figure it out, hey, come on now.
I mean, it wasn't easy. We pieced it together to make the thing. But
it's good. Peace of mind. That's a peace of mind.
100% peace of mind.
Okay, so this is a good question on the screen from Truitt. What makes sense? The minimum for Truitt to make sense. I would think
$1 million, $2 million, $5 million.
Probably about $1 million, right? Yeah. If you got $1 million to put in, but I mean, it really depends on what your income is, right? Because again, you're going to be able to deduct up to half of your AGI using the stepped up basis of what you put into that CRUT. But here's the important thing: you do not off ramp the crypto before you put it in the CRUT. Don't do that. You're breaking it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Right? It goes in the CRUT as crypto. Go.
So the number one thing though is to establish, like, let's say with Coinbase as a very popular central exchange, you want to set up your business entity. You want to set up you want to register and create an account in the name of the trust.
No,
right?
no. You have this, Jake. You want an entity owned by your trust because you don't want people to know what your trust is. Let's back up all the way to the beginning. A trust is a creature of contract only, whereas an entity is a creature of government registration. If you want an LLC, you got to go to the Secretary of State or their fancy website nowadays, right? I started when you had to walk it in. Woo, I'm old. But you go online and say, hey, Nevada, I would like an LLC. And they say, cool. What name would you like? Ask you a few details, the address and stuff like that. And they write it down and they say, cool. Now this LLC is a legal person in Nevada, right? Yeah. They charge you a fee for that. But the government did it. So guess what? There's a repository. There's a list you can go to, the website where you can look up LLCs. Isn't that convenient for everybody? Okay. So that's not very private. Your trust is an agreement between you and your trustee and your beneficiaries, right? And it's not registered anywhere. And the reason I know this is that I get an email every week on Mondays looking for documents for people that have died because there's no place else to look for them but to ask the assembled trust lawyers. Okay, they don't exist. So when you get one of these, you got to store it somewhere. You got to tell your friends and family that you have it and where to find it because there's no place else to look for it. Okay, trusts are private vehicles, especially estate trusts, because they don't get registered. They don't need a tax ID. They're using your tax ID. Okay, that is a completely different kind of animal than an entity. It's not it's not a registered entity. It's private, right? You want to be private, put things in trust.
So it's very important because like I was recently, I was set up under another firm. It was set up the right way, but then that firm stopped that as they sunrised it and went heavy. So it's very important to correctly set up, like, let's say with Coinbase, the correct entity and register that. Like, so this is where if you need legal, just some advice on which way to go, because you could register on your own and create, you think, the LLC with Coinbase, but that's, could be the wrong approach and avenue.
All right, questions are coming in hot.
So,
let's roll.
Yeah. So I think you covered that. Well, no. So where would one put vehicles? I know, like, I take the first page of a personal trust, and only that first page is good enough when I go to the DMV or Department of Licensing to get that registered in the name of the trust when it's paid off and no lien holders.
Correct. So free and clear for vehicles, but vehicles are they're titled property, right? But they're also a rapidly decreasing piece of property. So
depreciating. Yeah.
You have the type of vehicle that isn't depreciating. Yes, the trust, right? Or yes, its own LLC, depending on what you're going to do with it. But if you're a normal car, you're good.
But let's say you get, in a lawsuit, they're coming after your assets. I don't actually. Isn't there a law against, like, they can't because you need a vehicle to perform work in order to pay back your bills? I don't know if they can take your vehicle because it's a mode of transportation.
Yeah, they don't seize your vehicle, right? But I always advise putting liability generating assets in their own LLC. What generates liability? Two things, mostly, right? Going concerns, business, right? And real property. Real property creates liability whether you're there or not, right? So we put real property, each piece, in its own LLC in the state where it sits. So if you have a Massachusetts piece of land, it goes in a Massachusetts LLC. Okay. Why do we do that? Because it wraps a box around your property that creates liability. Maybe someone dies on that property, and guess what? That property is liable for that. Okay. But if it's boxed properly, the property is the only asset they can take in satisfaction of that liability and not everything else that you have. And that is a very cheap insurance policy. Even if it's not insured, wrapping it in an LLC box will make sure it doesn't get out. Vehicles, right, don't work that way because you're operating the vehicle. There's a person, human in there also creating the liability. Vehicles don't work that way, right? So only your homeowner's policy works that way, right? So the property, think about all the things your homeowner's policy can get sued for. That's why you put property in a box. Now, unlike homestead, investment properties don't have any implicit protection. Again, why you create the box around each one. Yeah. Also, businesses. Do not put all your businesses in the same entity. That's crazy. Don't do that, right? Can you do it? Can you do it? Right? I can create department equity. I can do it, but I don't do that because I can't compartmentalize the liability. All right, but I want to do it. Compartmentalizing liability is important. It's another thing you can use entities for. Wrap them all in their own box. That's why. Vehicles don't need that, right? And then maybe if you have an autonomous vehicle, we'll talk about that. That's special. But if something that you drive, you're the insurance. You're the reason, right? So make sure that you have good coverage for you, umbrella coverage for everything else. Uninsured motorists, if you don't have that, it's available in your state, you definitely should get that because I live one place where it's available and it's a good idea here. Uninsured, underinsured motorist, right? So insurance is the answer to the question. You don't really want to put vehicles in a trust unless you got a special case reason to do so, and I haven't heard that here today.
Gotcha. I don't know, Randy, if you got anything on this one. Wills and dead men switches to pass on crypto. Any resources where you don't have to give up your keys, so to speak, your seed phrases.
Not in a will. That's public. You're gonna go to probate court. They're gonna get it. They're gonna see it all. They're gonna see it all. Don't use a will. Don't. It's public. Article 3 court. They're gonna see everything. Okay. They're gonna see everything. Let's not do that.
Another question. My trust currently owns my business and holding company. Is an asset protection trust necessary if your trust?
The next line, too.
That's the rest of the question.
Excuse me. If your trust owns them, or does this add an extra layer of protection? Excuse me.
If your business is owned by your revocable trust, it's owned by you. Okay, legally and for tax purposes. If your business is owned by your revocable trust, it's owned by you. Okay. If your business is owned by an irrevocable trust, then that's adequate. It doesn't need to be an asset protection trust. Any irrevocable trust will do. And we did that a lot, Jake, in the setup that we did in that structure, right? We isolated control away from, the irrevocable trust owns 99%. We did all that action, right? So if that trust that's holding your business is revocable, then you have no extra protection. And you may want to think about owning a significant majority or controlling part of that entity with an asset protection trust in order to make that entity asset protected. But you don't with a regular trust, no, none at all. Okay. But honestly, for most entities, you just need insurance, right? For most entities, to get to handle most of the risk. Asset protection is for people like if you kind of know you're under it, like you did the thing or you owe the thing, like I want to just avoid the liability directly, and that's asset protection. You probably don't need it. Probably don't. But if you do, we'll talk about it. A certificate of trust. Great. Good question, right? So again, unlike an LLC or corporation, a trust isn't something you can go look up. So we create a certificate, which is a short version of the trust, setting out the particulars that the bank needs to know: who the trustee is, how trustee succession works, who has authority for the money, blah, 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 who the beneficiaries are, all that. One page, maybe two. It's also signed and notarized. Okay. Right. Do this to avoid giving them the trust agreement. Why? Because it's private. Why the hell would you give a bank? They don't have any. A bank does not have lawyer-client privilege, right? They can just tell anybody. So you tell me, you can't tell anybody. You tell the bank, they can tell the whole world. Sell that information. Do not send your trust to the bank. The certificate takes no time at all. We'll knock it out. We'll sign it. And by the way, we give you a certificate with your trust same time, so you leave with one ready to go. You send that out. We'll send you 3 versions of your trust. The big one, the 100-page, the big dog, you'll sign that, notarize it, put it in the drawer. Well, summary, not signed, just for you, for yourself, your family and friends, to explain what it does and how it works. And the certificate, which is, the barest of bones, and that goes to third parties.
Gotcha. Do you have any team members in the Bay Area?
No, but you know,
San Francisco.
I've done a lot because of my alma mater. I have a lot of clients up there, but no, I don't have an office. But it's never really trouble to get anybody from the Bay Area to agree to fly to Vegas. So
yeah, that is true. Here we got Bright Light. What's the best for an S corporation? Does it
good question. I love
regular?
Okay. S is not a governance structure. It's a tax structure. Okay. A corporation is a corporation is a corporation as far as the state's concerned, right? You incorporate it the same way. S versus C taxation is a single page form you fill out with the IRS. That's it. Go to the IRS.gov, type in S Corp, they'll get it for you. Critically important. An LLC, a domestic American LLC, is the only entity on the planet that is tax agnostic. You can choose how you want it to be taxed. The default is pass through taxation. What's that mean? That means that the profits and losses of the LLC become the profits and losses directly of its members in the same shares in which they own it. And you get a K1 for that to add to your personal tax return. Or C Corp, normal double taxation, retained earnings, all that, or S Corp, right, which everybody knows about, which you blow with any non-natural people as owners, right? All three of those available to you as an LLC. And you can change every year if you want. Don't do that, but you could, right? So, because it's a single form. Do you need me for that? No, you don't. First of all, you need your accountant's permission. Don't be stupid, right? Second of all, you can do it yourself. You can do it. It's a single page form. Everyone on this podcast or stream can do a single page form. All of you, okay? So go handle that business. But yes, S election is not a governance designation. It's a tax designation. Tax. So that's for your accountant and not your lawyer.
Yep. So in crypto, you know, the keys to the kingdom are your seed phrases, and never give anybody your seed phrases.
Right.
However, in the event of your death, if you put them in that special secret hiding spot and didn't tell anybody where that secret hiding spot is, and no one knows, like, the shit's gone forever. But multi-sig, there are 2 or 3 different ways where you have 3 or 4 people that agree to, how does it work, Randy? Like sign, you know, and then that pieces together, or they
Every
each
transaction
have,
has to be signed by all 4 people, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in order to secure that. So in the crypto world, it's a very sensitive, touchy subject, but there's there are a couple different methods, so nobody just runs away with your money, so to speak, in the event of your death. Thank you for the info. Great stream, fellas. Appreciate the advice, Glenn.
Thank you.
Who doesn't mind going to Vegas, right?
Woo!
Hey,
I'm downtown. It's real. That's the courthouse right there. I don't go. I just like to have it right close by. I got a guy for that.
yep,
I just told you like a good number of secrets. How many more secrets do you need for free? Come on, a lot of secrets for free.
Yep, he missed the secrets. He'll have to be the part of the replay gang and go back.
Yeah, come on back. Also, I can talk about these anytime. Just come on down to the office, make an appointment.
Yeah. So, all right, where were we? I think we were down to this.
We got any more?
As far as questions, not right now, but yeah, go ahead with your.
Y'all, I said this. We're gonna say it again. The best way to judge an attorney is asking questions to see how they answer. They practice the way they answer your questions. That's answering questions is the core function of lawyers. It's what we do. So if you don't like the way they answer questions, you're not going to like working with them. Okay. And look, this is how to get a hold of me. Phone calls and emails, right? G Truitt at Private Wealth Law Inc. That's the main line to call Anna, 852-6601. If you want to talk to me, you got to talk to Anna first. Be nice to Anna. Huh?
Yeah, Anna is everything. So you F up with Anna, like just go away.
Never get back here. Never ever. Yeah.
Like,
take a picture last time you see me. So be nice to Anna. Be nice to Anna. And look, we love sharing our information. We love working with other professionals. We love helping people out. Okay. It's a different kind of firm. It is, but we love helping. So if we can help and we're for you, we'll help you. And if we're not for you, we'll tell you before you have to tell us, right? It's okay. It's okay to come and ask. It's okay to bring your questions. It's going to be super private. Bring your spouse or don't, right? It's all really, it's as you want it, right? Advice as you want it. We're going to come to you where you are. meet you where you are with your level of understanding, the size of your estate, your situation. We're not going to give you my estate plan. Of course, I have an estate plan, but you're not going to get mine. You're going to get yours.
Right.
I will tell you what's in mine eventually. But first, we're going to figure out what you need. And then if it comes up and you need to feel better about what you're doing, say, hey, this is also in mine. Great. But I'm not here to sell you my estate plan. Okay. I'm here to sell you yours. And I really want you to know it's okay to ask. And it's okay not to know. It really is. You don't, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. I didn't know. I didn't shoot out of high school knowing this stuff, right? I had to learn.
Yeah.
They don't even teach the stuff that I know in law school. I had to teach myself in the last 19 years, right? So I want you to understand it's okay not to know. I didn't know. The lawyers that come here didn't know. We're doing a thing, but this isn't locked up in some ivory tower. You can have access, right? And there's plenty of us vets in this game. I know them. I work with them every day. Okay. We are people that will help you, people that will answer your questions. Most importantly, we can explain it in terms that you can understand. This is not a black box. This is not the most difficult thing. You can get this stuff. And if you don't get it, I won't sell it to you. I won't let you, I won't let you black box me. I won't let you think this is magic. You will understand what we're doing. You may not be able to do it yourself, but you will understand what we're doing, because otherwise you'll resent us. And I don't want that, right? It's a partnership where it's nothing. Okay. So yes, it's heavy. Yes, you may not need it. Find out. Just reach out and we'll say, hey, this is your situation. Like, maybe not for us. Here's who you can use instead. We'll be here when you make your first million, whatever. We don't dismiss people. We don't burn bridges. We realize that there's enough help for everybody. And I really feel like all of you that you think you can benefit from it probably can. So please reach out, ask your questions, come on back around. Jake and Kinetics and all these guys, like, look, they weren't super keen to meet a lawyer right out of the gate. Okay. They just weren't. I had to come in, try to be super funny, because they were like, what is this? Right. So, what is this? But they made it. So
hey, Glenn, I got to say, we have our first conference in January here in Panama, the No Permissions Conference. And it's going to be pretty hot. And, we got direct flights from Vegas, open invitation, come down as a VIP, speak, present, meet a bunch of new clients.
Send that to me and Anna. We'll send it to Anna. She's in charge of that shit. But I'd love
Beautiful.
to. Yeah, Beautiful. I'll bring the wife down. We'll make a whole thing of it. Plus, I'm sure Panama's nice in January. So let's go.
Oh yeah, the best time of the year.
To meet more of you, talk about this stuff. I prefer being face to face. I'm extroverted, obviously, but I love this.
No
stuff.
shit.
You ever take those tests and you get them all the way over? Like maybe you should like a circus clown. Maybe like no, I got this. I was so to the point. I was a college mascot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
No, you were.
Yeah. That was you?
Oh, no, you were not.
Oh,
yes,
my God.
I was. Yes, I was. And yes, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Probably can't do the full thing anymore.
Were you doing flips? Cartwheels?
Oh, yeah, all that. Got in a fight with other mascots. Yeah, all that. Played basketball, top of the pyramid, all the stuff you're thinking. Yes, I did. And it was the best job I ever had. Do it again in a heartbeat. That's how you want to kind of.
And those were the good years. That's what Navy won every year.
All the time, man. But I'm telling you, if you want to know what kind of person becomes a mascot, like one like me, baby, that's who it is. Inside each one of those is the burning heart of someone that talks too much. There's not allowed to talk at all. Beautiful.
That is awesome. Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Any last questions? We can wrap it up. It's been about an hour, 9 minutes. Old StreamYard's showing me about 71 people collectively have been watching, tuning in, all that good stuff. It'll be up there on the YouTube for future replays. Catch this on the replay if you're just tuning in. There's a lot of great information. We posted all of Private Wealth Law's info, their website, the phone number. Remember to be nice and courteous to Anna. That's step one, first and foremost. And we're going to get Glenn booked for Panama, because we're going to get you in front
Panama. Let's go. You heard it here first. Woo!
A lot of great people, and you'll be in your element even more, because it'll be live. In person.
Woo! I got jokes all day. Let's go. Ask me hard questions.
Right. So now, being in Panama, like you may want to brush up or have somebody, or if you know a connection, that somebody that can speak to people that live outside CONUS,
yeah,
United States.
I'm going to prep a whole module on how to handle Panama U.S. Wealth transfers. So I'll get that. I got a lot of time between now and January. I'll prep it. Don't worry, I'll come loaded up. Now, every country's their own thing. I'm going to have Latin America kind of prepped out. I'm not going to have a Luxembourg chapter, bro. That country shouldn't even exist. Too fucking small. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to have one for everybody. So look, if you have a country you need me to help you with, and you got enough to make it worth looking up, let's go do that. I'm not scared of anything. I'm not going to keep all the nations of the world in a catalog in my brain. Too old, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I will help you. Nothing is beyond our capacity to help. Right. So just ask the question. And if you have a rare case, great. After 19 years, if it's not a rare case, I'm less excited anyway. So bring me something exciting, or I'll give it to one of my associates. Anyway.
Right.
Something that hasn't been done before. I have a house on the moon. Great, let's talk about it, right? How do I tax an IFS? Yeah, let's go.
You never know. You might get that next Elon that's like, I'm going to Mars. What do I do?
Someone's about to tax in Antarctica. If you're one of those people, I would love to hear from you. Let's go. I'll do the first one for free. Okay.
No doubt. All right. So if you guys want more of this, we can maybe do a part 2 down the road in the future. More in depth, maybe on something specific we can drill down in or not, or whatever. It's whatever we want to make the world. So no question is off limits. Glenn, thank you so much. It's been an honor and a privilege. Really hope this comes to fruition as far as I'm going to be in Panama, brother. So I'm going to be there as well.
You buried the lead, man. I didn't even know we're going. Let's go. January.
Let's go. We got the G6 and we'll bounce out.
MLK's birthday, and that's it. That's January. It's like, it's a bummer month. Let's go do something.
Let's go live life. No doubt.
Take the wife, get a bikini on. Let's do it. Not for me.
No.
Speedo?
Are you a Speedo guy? I don't know.
No, I'm the scoot guy. You'll see me on the beach in this. It's perfect. So you know the lawyer's there. Okay.
Yeah, amen. All right, I'm gonna punch us out of here. Here's our outro. Thank you again, Glenn and Randy, gentlemen. Until next time, peeps. Peace.
All right.
First day,
Hey,
isn't it because to be on 2 feet? Holy.
Yo, it's the Hexicans again. Crypto, this ain't the end. It's real life, not pretend. The code is what we defend. We some crypto junkies. Hex and pulse chain, we comfy. The price action bananas. Chimpanzees, monkeys, making trust to sleep. How can I claim a loss? Hex and pulse chain, they didn't rug. Gary Gensler, we're the victims. I really think you just spreading some FUD. So tell me what this is about. Oh, you do anything for the clout? You are a joker and I am dope, but that's just a fact. Full disclosure. So tell me what's next. You think Richard Hart's gonna run with the funds? I heard some influencers say that, and to me, that sounds really dumb. But that's just me, and we will see. Hex is no company. I own my crypto, how it should be. No restrictions, totally free. With DeFi, there's no middleman. Just code program to do what it do. Repetitive tasks, kiss my ass and regulate this new asset class, cause we some crypto.